the left-hand side. King busting a gut to get ahead of him. Tries to find him now. It's King in space. You've got Lewis Cook in the middle. Wilson trying to get there too. King down the left-hand side. Drives it across the goal to Callum Wilson. What a save! The rebound is in! And it's 2-2 for David Brooks. The counter-attack to absolute perfection. And they give themselves hope. Here is Brooks! And with 2 minutes to go, could that be a game changer? Great first touch, sets it for Brooks. Left-footed shot from Brooks, and it is 3! We've barely played 20 minutes at the Vitality Stadium, and Bournemouth have got cruising clear of Huddersfield. 2 from Solanke. Holding now towards Brooks for a second! David Brooks at the double! He won't score many headers in his career, David Brooks. Here's David Brooks, nicely fed by Joshua King now. Brooks onto his left foot, opportunity to shoot still. Brooks shoots! There it is from David Brooks! Thought about shooting once, then opened up some more space and drove it beyond the despairing dive of Matt Ryan. Here's Danjuma now trying to take on Jordan Thompson. He just breezes past Jordan Thompson. Danjuma left side of the ear, Solanke makes the run in towards the near post. It might reach Brooks! It does reach Brooks! And that is the breathing space that the Cherries have been looking for. The Cherries have got numbers here. Solanke still, right hand side, shoots low, off the back of the post. Brooks in off the bar! David Brooks with his second of the game, and that surely is lights out for Birmingham already. Brooks over on the far side now for the Cherries. Trying to get some energy into their forward play. Little link up with Billy, that's nice. And now David Brooks into the box. Shoots into the back of the net, David Brooks! It was Solanke in fact with the link up, and David Brooks fired it across Samba, and it nestled in the left hand side of the goal. Picked up by Wilson. Quite to Brooks, left foot in, and David Brooks with his first Premier League goal, and it's an absolute peak.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Friday night free-for-all preview show here on Back of the Net. It's been a bit of a weird week, hasn't it? Obviously, we'll be turning our attention very shortly to the football goings-on this weekend. However, for now, as you can probably tell by our countdown sequence, our thoughts are with David Brooks and his friends and family. So after being diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin Lymphoma, David will begin treatment next week. Whilst his prognosis is very positive, it's obviously a big shock. And as Scott Parker said in his presser, he's a liked and a loved member of the team. And the players at AFC Bournemouth are like a group of people, like all of us, that want to support him and help him through his next stage of life. David, best wishes. We know the treatment's going to be a success. On behalf of all AFC Bournemouth fans, best wishes. You've got this, and we cannot wait to be seeing your effortless gliding up and down the pitch at Dean Court very soon. And until that day comes, well, we're always going to be thinking of how you're doing. Plus, we'll be singing your name, not least when the clock hits 7 minutes at Ashton Gate tomorrow. David Brooks, what an absolute legend. We cannot wait to see you back in an AFC Bournemouth shirt, buddy. Right, it's not just me tonight. We've also got this fella here as well. It's Morgan Scott. How are you, Morgan?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Sam. Hope you're well too.
Yeah, doing very well. And this is your show tonight, as ever. If you want to take part, you can do so. It's the usual link that you need to go to. If you don't know what that is by now, at the top of the screen above my head there, you can see it. It's afcbpodcast.com/take part. Once you're in the room, just wait, and then we'll bring you in at some point during the next hour. We've got Bournemouth fans, we've got Bristol City fans. It should be a very interesting free-for-all. Make sure your device is in landscape if possible. Headphones if you can, but don't worry if you haven't got them. And we're certainly looking forward to chatting all things Cherries, because we've got to cover the pubs, the predictions, the presser, and also the predicted chosen 11 as well. There's lots to go through, but first, I think it's time to talk about Scott Parker's presser, eh? So, Morgan, you tuned in to the press conference and you've been reading a lot about it, and I can imagine it was pretty much dominated with the David Brooks story, right?
Of course, Mark McAdam started by asking Scott Parker about the situation with David Brooks, and what Parker reiterated that they are putting coping mechanisms in place for Brooks and his family, and from everyone associated with AFC Bournemouth, we all wish David Brooks the speedy recovery and to hope to see him back out on that pitch doing what he does best, ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, mate, what about the team news? We will talk about the football, and there are a few questions that we've got with regards to the lineup, not least a certain player that wasn't playing the other day, but it's a hell of a journey back to the UK, isn't it?
I'm sure you're alluding to Jefferson Lerma. I think he finished at 12 o'clock last night. It'd be interesting. He didn't come off the bench, so hopefully that might persuade Parker to maybe start him. But I doubt it's going to be going to happen, if I'm honest with you, just because of the lack of getting back. He probably hasn't had no sessions with the team for a couple of weeks, and also the jet flight, and it's probably going to be a little bit too rushed for tomorrow. But of course, I would like to see him in that team. But for tomorrow, I'm thinking it's a bit too soon, I imagine.
Yeah, and if you're watching this and you're watching on YouTube, you'll see in the chat we've got a pinned opinion poll, and we want you to tell us what you think with regards to, do you think Lerma is going to start tomorrow? Let us know. Alternatively, those are the details at the bottom of the screen if you want to come on the show and talk all things cherries. But will Lerma start? If you're watching on YouTube, let us know. Just put your answer in the chat, and then later on the show, I'm sure we'll talk about that. What about some other team news? Are there any other injury concerns that you know of, Morgan?
Everyone's in good health, apparently. Scott Parker said he had a few to just check over when they returned on Wednesday morning. Junior Stanislas is back in training and looking sharp again. So maybe, obviously, with maybe Lerma being unavailable tomorrow, and of course, David Brooks probably will miss tomorrow, I assume. You obviously got Junior Stanislas that might be back on the bench. So that's obviously a good bonus for us, especially at the moment. But I think we're all in good health at the moment, Sam. So hopefully Lerma will be on his way back all without any knocks or niggles, and hopefully he might have a place in that team. But I alluded to, I'm not sure it might come too quickly for Jefferson Lerma tomorrow. But otherwise, we're in good health.
In terms of Lewis Cook, he continues building his strength back to full fitness. We know that he had that half against Arsenal in the Premier League Cup where he scored that ridiculous goal at the end to equalise and make it 1-1, but he's not quite there yet. So yeah, there we go. That is the news from AFC Bournemouth. But you know what? It's always interesting to get a view of the opposition as well, eh?
Absolutely.
So let us do just that. Now, of course, we know that the Bristol City manager is Nigel Pearson. He was appointed in February and took charge of his first game away at Swansea, which was one game before AFC Bournemouth actually visited Ashton Gate, where I think it was a Cameron Carter-Vickers backside that won us the game 2-1 in the end. But Bristol City at that time were 11th in the table, but they dropped down to 19th. Now, this season, the summer transfer window, Pearson signed 2 defenders for undisclosed fees for the Robins, Robert Atkinson from Oxford United and George Tanner from Carlisle as well. Also 2 midfield players on free transfers, both in their 30s actually. Matty James from Leicester and also Andy King from the Belgian club Leuven, where he only spent a few months, but he was also with Pearson previously at Leicester as well. Their start to the season hasn't been overly great, but why not chat to some fans who might be able to tell us a little bit more about it. By the way, of Ben Mead from Robins on Tour, who's with us. Ben, how you doing, fella? You all right?
Hello.
Hello, mate. Hope you're doing well. We've also got
I'm
Annie
not too
here.
bad. Thanks. How are you?
Very good, mate. We've got Annie here as well. Bristol City fan. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, mate. I'm fine.
Good. Well, nice to have you on. I'll come to you first. Annie, am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, Annie's fine.
Superb, top man. talk to me about your season, mate. How have you thought it's gone so far? Because you've yet to register a home win at Ashton Gate, is that right?
Not just this season. Past 15 games at home, we haven't won. Which is just diabolical, to be honest. But hopefully we can turn that around tomorrow. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with the season so far. 9th in the table. We're not that far off the playoffs. We're not that far off going back down the leagues. Back down the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're looking quite solid at the moment. We've got a good defense. As you mentioned there, Rob Atkinson and George Tanner. They've been quite exceptional, to be honest. 2 young players who've come in from the lower leagues and have fitted in very well. So yeah, perfectly happy with the season so far.
What were your thoughts when Nigel Pearson came on board, Annie? Because for a lot of Bournemouth managers, for a lot of Bournemouth fans, we actually wouldn't have minded him, as our manager. Now in hindsight, with Scott Parker, we're pretty happy with him so far. I think Ben's just gone to sort out his internet connection, by the way, so hopefully he'll be back. But what have your thoughts of the Pearson reign been so far for Bristol City?
If you look at the stats, it will say we have been absolutely terrible. But I think there's much more of a context behind how bad we've actually been under Nigel Pearson, because we've had to clear out a lot of deadwood. And I think last season was pretty much a write-off and just avoid relegation, because we had a lot of players there who basically were there because of the old regime, which was just giving out contracts to ex-Premier League players, aka Adrian Mariappa and Henry Lansbury. But we've, under Nigel Pearson this season, I think there's a lot more trust in him than under previous managers which we've had in the Championship, like Lee Johnson and like Dean Holden. There's a lot more trust in Nigel Pearson because he has done it before and got teams out of the league before, like Leicester. So I think there is a certain level of trust from the City fans in Nigel Pearson, but I don't think if we go on another losing streak like we did last season, I think he could potentially be in trouble, because he's already had a window now where we've had a pretty high budget for COVID especially. So I think we have spent the money, and Nigel Pearson has got his players. Maybe not the quantity, but definitely some quality in there. So I think we are expecting to perform much higher than 19th of the season. But yeah, Nigel Pearson so far, I think we've been pretty good. Hopefully that continues.
In a minute, Morgan can ask Ben the aim of Bristol City when we bring him back in. But Annie, just before you go, can I trouble you for a prediction for tomorrow?
Oh,
sorry to do this.
This is going to be really hard for me, because Bournemouth obviously a great team. Watched them a lot this season. They play good football. Parker, it's different to what Parker played at Fulham, I must say, but it is similar in quite a lot of ways. I'm gonna have to go for draw. I know you might not be too pleased with that, but we do have a tendency to draw some games where we're particularly under the pump. So I'll go for a 1-1 draw.
1-1. Annie, appreciate it, mate. Enjoy the game tomorrow, buddy, and appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Sam. Cheers, Morgan.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cherries. Right, Ben's back. Hopefully we've got him loud and
hopefully.
clear. Ben, you all right? Yeah.
Yeah,
all good.
yeah. Just a few technical difficulties, but
before
all
Morgan asks you a few questions, talk to me about your channel, mate. Robin's on tour.
So basically, it's basically like what you guys do here at Back of the Net, but it's sort of following Bristol City and also my sort of journey into football media. So I usually do pretty much a vlog for every game, and the majority of that vlog will probably be interviews with fans. So like tomorrow against Bournemouth, I'm hopefully speaking to you guys.
Yeah.
So Sam and your team who'll be travelling down or travelling up to Bristol. And also we've just announced our third kit, so I'm hopefully going to try and chat to a designer of that or a City fan about that tomorrow. And then it'll just be a few fan clips and goal celebrations, all that sort of stuff, and obviously the clap in the 7th minute as well. But if any of you do want to go check out Robin's on tour on YouTube, obviously there'll be a video out probably about 6 p.m. tomorrow for the Bournemouth game. Hopefully it can be titled First Home Win, but I doubt that.
We'll
doubt that.
Morgan.
Yeah, so Ben, I just wanted to ask a couple of things. Firstly, what's like your direction for the Robins this season? Obviously, you might say you want to be mid-table, you might want playoff. Of course, you want to go back up to the Premier League if that's going to happen. But being realistic, where do you see yourself finishing this season? And what's kind of the direction where you would like the Robins to be in, say, May?
Well, obviously, I'd like to be in the playoffs, but realistically, that's probably reaching for the moon. So I think realistically is probably anything above mid-table. I think a lot of Bristol City fans were predicting at the start of the season, before anyone had kicked the ball, would be around where we were last season, sort of fighting in that sort of relegation scrap, but not actually in it, if that makes any sense. And I think a lot of City fans believed he'd probably be in between maybe 16th and 20th. But I believe we're 9th in the minute, heading into a very, very tough run of games. So, ahead of the next international break, we could be down there, but we could also be comfortably in the top 6. We just don't know. But as you say, realistically, come May, I'd be happy personally with higher than mid-table, so maybe 10th. I'd be buzzing with that, or even if the league just stopped now and we were just in 9th, I'd take that. But we've got a very tough run of fixtures. Obviously, Bournemouth on Saturday, then Forest midweek. There, just coming into midweek, some form as well. I've been saying to my mate, it's just our luck, isn't it, that we haven't won at home, and then the one team we think we might win at home, they just hit brilliant form. Then West Brom away, Barnsley, Blues, Coventry, Blackburn, Stoke, Sheffield United. A few tough games in there. But I think the main thing we do need, if we do want to reach for the playoffs, if it's even possible, or just top half of the table, is getting that win at home, which is just sort of hiding from us at the moment.
No, that's a really good answer. Thank you. And also, where do you think the Robins can hurt AFC Bournemouth tomorrow? Your two leading goal scorers are Chris Martin and Angus Wellman. Do you think they're going to prove clinical in the final third, or do you think there are other areas that you might be able to punish AFC Bournemouth at our trip against Bristol City tomorrow?
Well, from what we've seen so far, if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be those two. Most likely Andy Vyman, he's probably been our star player. Hopefully Hanno Masengo's back. He's been injured, but I believe, touch wood, it was only a small injury and he could be back soon. I don't know if that'll be today, Tuesday, or still in a few weeks, but he's been our main man, Hanno Masengo, but he's obviously injured at the moment. And if I was to place a bet, I'd probably say he'll be out again tomorrow. So our main man would probably be in midfield. We've got Andy King and Matty James, who Nigel Pearson brought in. They're absolutely brilliant. And it will probably be Backinson with them if Masengo's not fit. But then if we're going to hurt anyone, depends if we're playing the sort of 5 at the back, it will be Andy Vyman and Chris Martin or Naki Wells. Or if we're playing the 4-4-2, which we saw late on at Peterborough, it will probably be Williams or O'Dowda. Which will be the threats, but it's going to be sort of interesting to see, because after the first international break, Chris Martin seemed to sort of drop off. I think he's been so knackered recently. He's needed a rest, so hopefully he's got one over the international break and he's going to come back firing. Hopefully get a goal on Saturday. But if right now, I'd probably say City's danger man's Andy Vyman.
Very good
stuff. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, excellent. So go on then. Give us a prediction for tomorrow then, mate.
What do you want, head or heart?
Yeah, well, go for both. I'll allow you both. Okay.
Head, probably 2-1 to Bournemouth. But then heart, I'd say we'll get our first home and it'll be a scrappy 1-0 win for us.
Mate, that's absolutely superb. Right, if you're watching on YouTube now, do Ben a favour, right? We've put his YouTube channel link in there. Make sure you click it. Make sure you open another tab, because otherwise we'll be gone forever. So make sure you open a new tab and subscribe to his channel, because you can see what a likeable lad he is. And Bristol City, it's a club that, it's a city that really should be having a top flight team, I've got to say. And let's face it,
Yeah.
it's not going to be Rovers, is it? So yeah, make sure you subscribe to Robins on Tour. Ben, appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you very
we'll catch up
much.
tomorrow, mate.
100%.
Cheers, Ben.
Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Safe journey down.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Other cherries, thanks very much. That's Ben Mead, Robins on Tour. Click the link, subscribe now. Right then, let's have a chit chat to some cherries. Kirk and Aaron are standing by. Firstly, Morgan, I think we should see who is in the chat, shouldn't we? We've got Chris Hubble. We've got Red and Black Cherries. We've got JK. We've got Aaron here. We're going to see his beautiful face in a minute. We got JK as well. That's Aaron's son. We got AFCB fan as well. Who else we got? Mark Cole. Hi, Mark. James, Jack, Sammy, Dan. I'm really wary of going through these because quite often at the start of these chats, it's like everyone's saying hello to each other. So quite often I'll say the same name twice. We've got Ellen here. Hi, Ellen. Hope you're all right. We've also got Layla as well. Loving the B&M, Layla. She's doing her spots for Back of the Net on her Twitter earlier. She's said that there's a B&M outside Ashton Gate, which is really handy if you want to buy like a tea towel or whatever. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, we'll all be doing that. Robins on Tour. That's Ben from earlier. Robins Talk as well. That was Annie. Make sure you check out that channel as well. Who else have we got? Rich Neal. Oh, there's more. AFC Bournemouth, Germany. Carol, we'll pop the rest of your comments on screen throughout the rest of the show. But quickly, James Reed is here. We can't not say hello to him. Oh my God, look at that smile. Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Good. Loving that AFC Bournemouth poster behind you, mate. It looks superb on the wall. Are we going to win tomorrow?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so Bristol City, they haven't won at home at all this season. So you're saying that's not going to change? Bournemouth are going to get a result, right? Here we go.
Away. Yeah.
We're away. Let's say he's put 2-1 to AFC Bournemouth. Absolutely superb. Do you think it's going to be Dom Solanke scoring again?
Yeah.
And surely got to be Phil Bill, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be saying 2-1 Phil Bill. I'm absolutely certain. James, you are a legend. 2-1 to AFC Bournemouth. Looking forward to seeing you on the next video. James Reed, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Legend. Up the cherries. Right then. Here's Kirk. Hello, mate.
How you doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah, good,
Very
thanks.
good. Aaron's here as well. Good evening, Aaron.
Good evening to three of you all.
How you doing,
Good
Aaron?
evening. Right, Ben's just got in touch as well. Ben from Robins on Tour saying, if you're an AFC Bournemouth fan and you're watching this, outside the away end, he's going to be stood between about 1 and 1:30 tomorrow. So if you get there nice and early and you want to chat on his channel, then you can do so. Get on Robins on Tour between 1 and 1:30 tomorrow. So yeah, make sure you do that. How you doing, Kirk? A nice little away day tomorrow, not too far away. Should be a good one.
Oh, I can't wait. 20 days since I've been to a live match, obviously, because I was unwell for Sheffield United. So I'm well up for it. Got the tickets, got a plan to get up to Bristol City. Should all go to plan. Meet some of you up there, and then hopefully we get the football on the pitch. The last away game was Hull City, so I need to get that out of my brain.
I tell you what, though, Kirk, I was watching some of your videos on your channel, and you could set up a naughty telephone line with that voice, mate. Oh, it was gravelly. Oh, beautiful. But you're feeling better now, though, right?
I'm feeling good now. Yeah, all good. Ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. And Aaron, are you going tomorrow?
I am going, yes. Yeah.
Oh, superb. So I'll be seeing you at that game. Also, the Reading game. Sorry to say it, Aaron, but I'm sat right behind you. So,
so I hear.
Yeah. But, you know, at least I'm not in front of you, so you won't have a camera slung in your face. But how are you feeling about tomorrow, Aaron? Because it's going to be quite an emotionally charged match, you feel?
Yeah, it's been a really, as you said at the beginning, a really odd week. It just came out of the blue, didn't it? Really, you know, someone tweeted me, messaged me, and said, "Oh, you know, look at this," and then it all came out, and then I had to break the news to my boys, which wasn't easy. And yeah, they've been struggling a bit, but yeah, it's just puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? I just can't stop thinking about Brooksy and, you know, what he's obviously going through. Having said that, I've no doubt he'll, you know, he's young, he's fit, he's healthy, he'll come through it. He's got a fight on his hands, but yeah, I think he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, and Kirk, you know, as a person who's who's had some, what should we say, adversity in terms of your health. Obviously, this is going to be such a big shock for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. And, it seemed to me, we don't know the ins and outs, but it seems like it's maybe come as a bit of a surprise. He's got the right people around him. Everything that we've heard from the club support, they've got this 100% spot on. Sometimes, sometimes we do criticise the club about certain things, but from what I'm seeing, from what I'm hearing, they have got this absolutely spot on. And I think David Brooks is in the right hands. He's got the right support, and I'm confident David Brooks will get through this. We'll see him on the pitch again. We know he's got the talent. We know he's one of the best players in our team on his day. I can't wait to see his skills on the turf again in Dean Court. But, this moment is for him. He's strong. He'll get through it. We just got to get behind him. The lads will get behind him, and we'll get as many points for him, and we'll get the job done.
So where do you think the game's going to be won and lost then tomorrow, Aaron? Because Ben's saying that Bristol City might be playing 5 at the back, which is going to be a bit of a challenge to break them down by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen about Bristol City, the reason their home record isn't great is because they like to play on the counter attack. So that's why their away form is better than their home form. So that does worry me a little bit because look what happened at Peterborough. If teams sit back against us, we find it quite hard to break them down. I think it's Jeff Lerman's going to be a miss, obviously, if he's not playing. I know we've had a debate about it. He didn't play last night, so from that perspective, he's not going to be match tired. But obviously, it's a travel back, so it's just a case of whether Scott thinks he can travel back and then play, having not played a match. He's obviously been training with Columbia, so he has been training out there as well. Maybe on the bench, I would imagine, and make sure he's fit for Stoke. So I think that's going to be a bit of a dilemma because it's going to be Nigel Pearson's team's always quite combative. So obviously having Ben, I'm sure Ben Pearson will be in there, which is great, and Phil Bill. So it's just a question of that third midfielder, and whether we go for kind of a bit more creativity with Marcondes, whether Gavin Kilkenny comes back in, or whether Ryan Christie tucks in and plays where we know he can play, and then someone like Lowe gets a chance on the wing. But I just think it could be won and lost in midfield. I think that's the thing, that's the key. And I think it's about creating and scoring, obviously taking our chances. They're not going to be easy. It's easy to look at their home record and think we're going to get a result, but we're going to come a cropper at some stage. And Nigel Pearson's a very experienced, wily manager, and he's going to know what's going to hurt us.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan, I think probably one of the most interesting topics tomorrow of conversation is that midfield 3, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Aaron just alluded to, and I did a bit earlier in the show. I think it's going to be interesting to see who he does pick. I'm sure we'll go on to it later. But I maybe Emi Monconde gets another chance. That's the only other. Maybe Gavin Kilkenny, who happened maybe earlier in the season. I'm not sure it would be him. I reckon Monconde ahead, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Ideally, Lerma would be there, but I'm not sure it's going to be for Lerma tomorrow, unfortunately.
You were nodding your head when Morgan said Marcondes, Kurt.
Yeah, I mean, Lerma doesn't play tomorrow for me. Travelling back, obviously. Stoke on Tuesday. We need Lerma in there for that game. So for me, it's a split between Kilkenny, a double pivot, because he is more, he does sit deeper, or go for Marcondes. I think Bristol City, as we've talked about, have not got a great home record, haven't won at home for 15 games. If you look at the form league tables and you were to break them down, home form, they're third from bottom. Away form, they're top of the league. Okay, so they must play, in my eyes, a style that more plays on the counter attack when they're on the road, and at home they maybe sit in. And the only decent result I believe they got at home was against Fulham, where they could probably play it like an away day. So I would go for Emi Marcondes. I think we can attack those insecurities that Bristol City potentially have at home. I think he's due a game. He didn't really do anything wrong. I know he went missing for a few games, but he had a good start to the season. But I think he'll give us that ability to link up with Billing, Anthony, Christie and Solanke. And I think if we get a couple of goals, that'll probably be enough for us. So I would go with Emi. It's a little bit more positive than maybe going with Kilkenny.
Morgan, can you see some other changes other than that? Or do you think it's going to be pretty much like for like?
I think it's going to be like for like, to be honest with you. I can't see much past that unless there's something that we're not aware about. But as Parker said in his presser yesterday, as I alluded to, everyone's in good health. So apart from the Lerma change, I can't see anything else happening, if I'm honest.
I didn't see Zamora in the training pictures or videos. I know he obviously went away with Zimbabwe, is it?
Yeah.
So he wasn't there. I hope I'm not reading too much into that. And I did see Leif Davis in there. So obviously, if Jordan Zamora is out, then Leif Davis will play. But I just didn't see him in the video, which doesn't always mean anything. But I'm not sure.
One of the things that's quite good, I suppose, is that Junior Stanislas looks like he's coming back from injury. And look, when David Brooks was unchallenged on that right flank, I don't think the performances were where they should be. Now, of course, we were talking about that recently, and we obviously feel terrible for saying the things we said because we don't know how much of his condition was part of it. However, the fact is that when you don't have someone trying to kick you up the backside, trying to get your place, then you don't have to play as well because you're going to be a shoo-in. There were a number of players last season, I think, that fell under that category. But Ryan Christie has done really well to gain that spot, and maybe with Junior Stanislas breathing down his neck, Aaron. I wouldn't say breathing down his neck that forcefully because how close he's away to an injury every week, but it's good to keep up that competition in certain spots in it. So it's going to be great to see Junior back. He's not going to start tomorrow, but possibly on the bench, which is good news for us.
Yeah, and look, if he's fit, Junior's a fantastic player. It's very difficult because I've got to feel sorry for him. He's always injured, but he played a lot of football last season and he was really effective for us. We know in this division he can be great. I actually think, well, we've said it many times on this show and other shows, that his best position is probably on either coming off the left or even centrally. So I don't necessarily see him as competition for Ryan now on the right-hand side with Brooksy out. I think Junior will probably play more centrally like he did against Blackpool when he was on the pitch. So potentially another option instead of Marcondes potentially centrally tomorrow. But as you say, it just depends how match fit and match ready he is. But I think that's where he's probably going to play majority for us this season when he can actually get in the team. Obviously he can do a job on the right, clearly, but I just think maybe not as effective. But Ryan Christie's been superb. So, and again, I'd love to see Ryan Christie play centrally or on the right. Wherever he's played, he's impressed me.
Kirk, where do you think Ryan Christie is most effective?
Yeah, I wanted him as a cam when he came in. I really wanted him tucked inside, but he's done a good job, and we're going to need him to do a job on that right-hand side. Junior Stanislas is going to be a squad player. Seen reports about potentially Robbie Brady being linked with us as well, which as a free transfer. So look out for that one. Not sure, but I like Christie. I said this when I first saw him. He didn't necessarily have the most world-class game in his first couple of games, but you saw that he has desire, his work rate, his effort. He's trying to play round players instead of through players, but then he did come into his own. Those a couple of assists he's got, especially the one for Billing where he flicked it over the top. He has that little bit of talent that you need to open the door, especially when we're going to probably come up against a lot of teams that are going to play a lot of players in front of us. We are going to need those players that can just play those balls, that can take three players out of the game, and Christie's one of those, and definitely going to need him a lot this season. And he doesn't look like he's an injury-prone player. When we brought him in, he's got very good numbers playing for Celtic and the other loan spells he's had, so we should get a lot of games out of him.
Kirk, what's the deal with trying to get Morgan Rogers into more involved in terms of minutes and Jamal Lowe? Because at the moment they seem to be having these little 20-minute roles, and they aren't really that effective. Like, is it going to sort of take an injury for them to get thrown in, or what?
I think so, and they will give they will get game time. I think we'll look back at the end of the season, and they will get a good amount of games. I'm sure of that, because it's how it works. Dom Solanke's doing very well at the moment. He's not going to play 46 games, and that if he doesn't get 20 goals, that'll be the reason probably why. The problem that Morgan Rogers has probably got, and Jamal Lowe, because I think Lowe came in to potentially play that left-hand side, is that Jaden Anthony has exceeded expectations, and that link up with Samura is been extremely good for us. And unfortunately, you take Jaden Anthony out of that, Zamora is half the player he was with Anthony, and he lost a bit of confidence, and there just wasn't that connection, was there, with Rogers? I mean, Rogers did all right against Peterborough. He had the best chance in the game for us in the first half, but he's a young player. Look, he's jumped a few leagues up. He had a loan spell, didn't he, at Lincoln City? I'm sure he'll be a good player. What level he'll eventually play at, we'll only find out. But I just don't think he's going to break that partnership of Anthony and Zamora unless there's an injury, like you said.
Brilliant. Okay, so before we go then, we're going to do some predictions with everyone in chat shortly. But Aaron, go on then. Tell us how you think it's going to pan out tomorrow.
Oh dear. I think these next two games are going to be very tough. I think I think you can underestimate how big a miss Jeff Lerma is going to be if he's not available for us. So tomorrow, I'm more optimistic about tomorrow than I am Tuesday. I think Tuesday's going to be a very, very tough game.
Yeah.
But as far as tomorrow goes, I think the squad will be galvanised with, around Brooksy. I think obviously, there's a lot of freshness there. I think there's going to be obviously a big following behind us. I think we're going to win the game 2-1. I think we get that first goal, their heads will drop. The crowd will obviously, be a bit subdued with their home record. I'm going to go for a confident 2-1 win.
And Kirk, what are you going to go for, mate?
Look, we want a good game, don't we? We want it to be an exciting game. I think the weather's going to be okay tomorrow as well. I think Chris Martin scores for Bristol City. Seems to like a goal against us. Well, he did when I went to watch an away game at Derby. But I think we win this game 2-1. I'm going for a Solanke. And if Emi Marcondes plays, I reckon Emi will score.
Emi as well. And come on, let's just see that shirt again, can we? Let's see it.
It's ready for tomorrow.
Let's see it. Love it. Cannot wait to be singing that on 7 Minutes tomorrow. And that's when we're going to be singing it, by the way, on 7 minutes, because I know we're all saying the 7th minute, but the 7th minute is actually between 6 minutes and 6 minutes 59. But as soon as that clock hits 7, that's when we're all going to be chanting his name, and Bristol City fans get behind it. Their supporters trust has been truly great as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on. Kirk, really appreciate it, buddy.
Great show, Sam and Morgan. See you tomorrow.
Oh, look, Kirk. I let Ben plug his channel. Go and plug yours. Go on. Go on.
If you want to, over on YouTube, Cherries Red Army or cherriesredarmy.co.uk. There is a match preview if you want to listen to it on the way up to Bristol City tomorrow.
All the plugs. Love it. Kirk,
Cheers,
mate. And Aaron, thanks very much. See you tomorrow, no doubt.
Safe journey up, guys, and see you before the game.
Nice one. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing you after the game as well, by the way, because I'll be there doing the usual thing. So if you want to come and have a chat, hopefully it'll be a bit more contained than it was against Cardiff, where people were jumping all over me. But it would be good to get some smiles on camera. Oh, you know what? Even if you're frustrated, come on and just chat all things Cherries. Right, Morgan, I know you're going to be going through some predictions, but we also need to talk about the pubs as well. So with me, it's like a school lesson this is. I've got my Google map here, and the pubs of choice tomorrow are, let's zoom in. There you can see where the waterfront is, where my cursor is there, and then just across the bridge there at the southern side of the waterfront, you've got the Cottage Inn. But there's a few pubs along this stretch. Okay, so the pubs of choice tomorrow are the Cottage Inn. I've got to say that really carefully. The Orchard Inn. Also the Nova Scotia, and also the Rose of Denmark, which is a little bit further out. That's also an option. We're going to be at the Cottage Inn. It is a Buckham Brewery pub with a large outdoor space, and also parking as well. We've contacted the Nova Scotia, by the way. That pub is, if you're looking at the map and you can see my mouse, the Nova Scotia is like round about here. Whereas the Cottage Inn is here, and then you've got the Orchard, which is like somewhere over this way. But either way, they're about 15 minutes walk to the ground. As I say, we're going to be at the Cottage Inn tomorrow. And as I say, Nova Scotia, they said no big groups, as it's a small pub. So if you're going to, it's kind of like when you go to a nightclub and you're like, oh, lads, let's split up into threes. It's that kind of thing. If you're going to be going to that pub, make sure you do that. Away fans should avoid the pubs on North Street and in the Ashton and Bedminster area. Weather-wise, turning into John Ketley here, black cloud but no little raindrop, 15 degrees. So it's going to be a bit of a chill. Shouldn't be any rain though. Right, prediction time. What are people predicting? Put it in chat now, and we're going to get it on. In the meantime, we're going to bring in John and Simon K. John, how are you, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, you.
Yeah, very well. We've also got Simon K here as well. Simon, you all right?
Yeah, I'm very well. I saw you drinking red wine, and I thought I have to come on because I can't have you drinking on your own with a glass of red wine. So cheers to David Brooks and cheers to everybody.
Yeah, cheers to David Brooks. Stupid question, Simon, but have you got the Phil Bill somewhere nearby?
Yeah, I have, and I thought it was quite interesting because you just mentioned the Rose of Denmark. So is that an omen?
Oh my goodness.
Is this the Rose of Denmark?
Is this the Rose of Denmark? Absolutely love that. And I've got to say, loved Jeff's interview with his dad as well on the channel.
Amazing.
It's really, it's like so interesting just to hear what parents and friends and family have got to say about their loved ones doing so well on the pitch, and especially a player that's sort of overcome adversity as well. So that's a really good interview. Check that out if you haven't already. Right, prediction time then. We've got a few coming in on chat, and Morgan, I gather you're going to be reading through these. So why don't you take it away and tell people at home what they're saying?
So Mark saying 3-2 3-2. We got 3-1 from Up the Cherries. We got 2-0. We got a 3-0 win away. 3-1 Cherries from Paul. Sammy's going for the usual 3-1. We got 2-1 from Rich Neal. Bristol City 1, AFC Bournemouth 1. So we got a draw there. Mark Hole saying 2-1 AFC Bournemouth. And again from Rob Wells, 2-1 AFC Bournemouth. Is that 7 for Brooks?
Yeah.
1-2. 1 AFC Bournemouth Neil. 2-0 AFC Bournemouth. 1-2.
Right. Like what this feels like, right? Like, in Lidl, when they put your shopping through, I'm going to do it really fast now. So you're going to really struggle to get them out. Right. Then go.
We've got a 3-1 from Chris. We got 1-0 home win. We got 3-0 to the Cherries. 2-0 to the Cherries. 3-0. To the Cherry, 3-1, 2-1.
It's too much. It's too much. But everyone is really excited. Morgan, what's your prediction, mate?
I'm gonna go 2-0.
And Simon, what are you thinking for this?
It's a really tough one. I think I'm going to go that we win. I think we need to win with Stoke coming up in the week, which is a tough game. So, waffling aside, I think there'll be goals. But the emotion of the David Brooks moment and everything else, I think we're going to win 3-2.
Yeah. And John?
I think it's going to actually be quite low scoring, personally. I'm going to go with 1-0 Bournemouth. Bristol seems to be one of the more set-piece focused teams in terms of the goals that they score. And Bournemouth have shown that they don't have that soft underbelly anymore. With possibly the change of, obviously, with what's happened with Brooks, with the fact that we won't have Lerma, we'll see what happens with Zamora. I'm not 100% sure if our fluidity is going to quite be there in this game, especially after an international break. So I think we'll be close. I think it'll be 1-0.
Okay, interesting. Let's go through the team then. We'll have Simon and John helping us out to predict this one then. It's going to be a tricky one, especially that midfield three. So then we've got the magical screen in front of us, and what we'll do is I suppose we can take turns, can't we? Or just have a little discussion either way. Morgan, I'll let you do the goalkeeper. I don't think this one's too difficult to do, is it?
No, it'd be Travs in goal.
Yeah, Travs in goal. Like no sweet talking. Just sorry, I typed your name.
Yes, put him in goal.
That would be horrible, wouldn't it? All right, John and Simon, between you, do you want to sort our defenders out? I'm not sure this one's overly complicated.
I'll take the left half. So Lloyd Kelly player 2, and I think Zamora will play purely because I don't think we have an alternative better option at the minute. He almost has to play.
Yeah. Okay, agree with that. And John?
Yeah, it's been a little bit harsh on Leif Davis. I think he could be a really good player, but we just haven't. He hasn't had the chance to. And then same on the right in terms of Cahill and Smith. And similarly, I think it's been really harsh on Stacey because I do think that he is the future of that position, but Smith has just missed it consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's just see what people are saying in the chat. 'Cause on YouTube, we've been running an opinion poll, which is live, and it was a simple question which said, "Will Lerma start tomorrow?" Right. I'll give you another minute if you haven't voted on this already. At the moment, it's 49-51, so it's really close. 49-51. Let me know what you think, and we will close the poll in a minute. Right then, Morgan, then talk to me about what you think is probably going to be happening in this midfield three, because it all depends on Lerma. One like scenario, I certainly remember like him playing for Colombia. It was like in the Eddie Howe era, and I thought there's no way that he's going to be playing, and then he did. He started the next match, but he only did about 60 minutes, and he wasn't that good. I think we lost the game. But, can you see him playing tomorrow realistically, or do you think we'll do what Kirk said and what you said by putting Emmy in there?
Oh, 100%. I can't see him returning after no training with Bournemouth all week. And yes, okay, he was an unused substitute, but it's a long journey. And then to link up with the squad, I can't see him. If he's going to be on the bench, that's a good, at least that's an option, but I can't see him starting. So for me, it would be Emmy, Pearson, and Phil Bill.
We've ended the poll, and it was 51% of you saying Jeff will not start tomorrow. John, do you concur with that?
Yeah, I think any real sensible manager, when you see the depth that we have and the fact that Lerma has been away, he has played a game, but the long travel that it takes to get here, the jet lag involved in that. If anyone has suffered from bad jet lag, they really know that it debilitates you for a while, and that. It's just you don't need to risk him. You've got Marcondes, you've got Stanislas coming back from injury, and I think that is his spot as well in terms of central midfield. You've got Lewis Cook isn't too far away from coming back. You could even put Kilkenny and Pearson in a double pivot. You just don't need to risk Lerma. If he's not 100%, you don't need to play him. So yeah, I agree. Marcondes should probably take his spot for this game.
Yeah. So what are we saying then, John? Are we saying that Pearson is in the player 6 position? Yeah.
Yeah, the same as what Morgan said. Pearson, that's pretty much Pearson's only spot. I don't see him playing as any further forward than that. But then the other two, you can't leave out Billing. He's really undroppable at this point. And then Marcondes is the natural replacement, I think.
Okay, brilliant. Simon, have we got any dilemmas over the wide men or not really? Is it pretty much who we think it's going to be?
No, none. I'm going to take a step back first. I've chosen Marcondes in my prediction. However, the Stanislas factor, if we're playing against the 3-5-2, his work rate might be something that might be considered, even though he's just coming back from injury. So that's a bit of a coin toss for me. So we'll have to wait and see, because we'll need another player who can do Emmy's great and he does that really well, but maybe Stan offers us something slightly different. So we'll wait and see. But no, in terms of the wings, same as Anthony Christie.
Yeah, Anthony Christie. And have you been impressed by Ryan Christie? Because I certainly have.
Very. Before he joined, he had a reputation for probably being a bit hot and cold. And if you listen to many Celtic fans over recent history, they'd say more cold than hot. But his attitude is spot on. His effort is spot on. He grafts, he blocks, he's creative, and I'm incredibly comfortable. I didn't know how he would fit, when he first signed, but I'm just enjoying watching him.
And Morgan, I don't think it's overly difficult for you to pick the striker.
No, it's going to be Solanke. He's been magnificent, pressing from the front. He links up with the wide men fantastically. Solanke gets the number 11 position.
John, so you're going to Stoke, I think, aren't you? Out of these two games, your ideal points return would obviously be 6. But what's the lowest tally that you'll actually be happy with from these two matches? Because they could be banana skins. Especially Stoke.
Yeah, I think really they should be looking at 3 at a minimum. They should certainly be looking at Bristol as the game to win, and then Stoke. that's just you don't necessarily know entirely what you're going to get, because Stoke haven't turned up for every game, but when they have, they do look really good. I mean, West Brom weren't great, but if you did watch that Stoke West Brom game, Stoke should have won that by 3 or 4. They were far better than West Brom. And the thing is that Stoke, from what I'm hearing of fans, is the thing that Stoke don't have at the moment is really a strong midfield. Now, Nick Powell is, I think if we were to ever lose Billing, I think Nick Powell would probably be my first name on the sheet if we went up and we lost Billing. Nick Powell's an amazing player at this level. And then you've got Romain Sawyers. Is it Romain Sawyers at Stoke? No, I think he's a different team. But they've got the likes of Allen in there, but I think they don't have quite so much depth. Klukas is a decent central midfielder, whereas we've probably got one of our biggest strengths is the players we've got in our central midfield. And then if Tyrese Campbell isn't back yet, they've got a very hard working striker, but they don't really have anyone that's clinical at the moment up front beyond Powell. So I don't see Stoke as a game where it's like try not to lose, but I certainly see that as the biggest test we've had in a few matches, in terms of the team that's probably going to go out and try and beat us. But I think we're very good on the counter at the moment, and we've got a very strong defence that can really frustrate. So I personally am looking for us to get a draw from Stoke. I think 4 points is a realistic target, but I think certainly would need to be looking to get the 3 from Bristol at a minimum over these 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon, whilst I've got you here, I can't not get you to talk about this little event. What's going on?
Get to know Talking Cherries. So obviously the conversation about mental health, obviously with David Brooks and everything that's going on as well, I'm sure that will be touched on during the evening. So it's taken a while for us to get this together, purely because of COVID and everything else that's been happening. But it's wonderful to be able to secure Simon and also Mark to come along and join in the conversation. So everybody's welcome. Come listen to what Frano says. He'll be talking about his adversities or positive things that have got him through difficult moments in his career. So long as Mark doesn't have any last-minute requests from Sky, he'll be there asking the questions. And it will just be lovely to see a whole bunch of people talk cherries and enjoy the evening.
Perhaps he can be live on Sky Sports, like announcing the signing of this, like Robbie Brady, and Simon could be photo bombing in the background, and it'll be great. We want to see it happen all on Thursday night. But anyway,
I'll have to make sure I've got a nice curry pie with me just to make it look.
Love it. Simon, thanks for coming.
By the way, great video with Speedo Mick. Well done for finding him on the A35.
Yeah, it was so random. I just saw this guy with like nothing on and flags hanging out. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And then yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant to see him, and he's got a really good story to tell, and obviously that tied in nicely with Talking Cherries. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
Brilliant. All right, thanks guys. Up the cherries. Let's get the 3 points.
Let's get the 3 points. John, cheers, mate.
No problem. Thank you very much. And obviously pass on my wishes as everyone else for David Brooks and his fight. As I put on Twitter, the first step to a cure is the diagnosis, and it's a lot better than it could have been. So he's going to have a lot of support. He's going to have the best. He's going to have the best stuff that money can buy in terms of his support that he'll have. So he's got a great chance of coming back to play for us again. I look forward to seeing him in the red and black stripes at some point in the future.
Exactly. And look, so, I mean, everyone's, the way people deal with cancer is all very different. But Sol Bamba was at stage 4 of Hodgkin lymphoma, and he came back, and, he's still in the game, which is great. And David Brooks, can't wait. It's not going to be long before he's putting on a red and black shirt again. I'm absolutely certain. John. Absolutely. Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And Robert's been standing by. We got to get Robert on. Here he is. I appreciate it's been so late in waiting, mate. And you know what? Your thumbnail went off screen a little bit. So I was like, hang on a sec, where's Robert gone? There he is. He's there all along. How are you, mate?
I am doing pretty well. How are you?
Very good, mate. We're top of the league. That can't be bad, right? Yeah.
I mean, look at the table. Look at the table. We're on top. Come on. Put some respect on Bournemouth, all right?
Yeah, I mean, Morgan, that table does look very pretty, doesn't it?
Oh, very pretty. It will look even prettier in a few days' time when we're built up at the table with hopefully 6 more points on it. But yeah, no, it looks very nice at the moment. Hopefully in May it will stay the same.
So there it is at the moment, and look at that. There are no red dots in our column, which I'm absolutely loving to see. But there we are. We are 3 points, 2 points clear. West Brom, they're playing at the moment, so that must mean they're drawing. They must be drawing at the moment. So West Brom, I know that they're live on Sky at the moment, aren't they? So we'll have to keep an eye on them because they could be on our coattails, which we don't particularly want. But yeah, I mean, Bristol City, look where they are on the table. They're 9th. Robert, how are you feeling about the game tomorrow?
It's quite of a difficult one. Bristol are that kind of team that can win like 3-0, and that at the same time they can just lose like 5-1. And same with the league's table, like fans are saying before the show, not before the show, but at the start of the show, yeah, for those Robinson tour, yeah, he even said that he thinks they can become like a great team, like a top 6 team, but at the same time they can be like a League One kind of team. So I guess, yeah, he's kind of right.
Morgan.
Just to reiterate what Aaron said there, West Bromwich Albion at the Hawthorns join to Birmingham City in the 25th minute 0-0.
Yeah, and I mean, if Birmingham can hold them to that, I mean, that would be a great result for us. It really would be. But like each and every time you're sort of looking over your shoulder, it's imperative that you're following it up with with a win. And I mean, just imagine, Morgan, if we could then increase that margin tomorrow with a win against Bristol City, who, let's not forget, haven't won at home. So the onus is going to be on them. I mean, they're playing like 5 at the back or whatever potentially, but surely the onus is on them to go out and get that home win. So there may be a few gaps which hopefully our attacking force can exploit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got Dom Solanke, Phil Bill, Emi Monconda, Jaden Anthony even, and also Ryan Crispy. I think we'll have too much in the final third. To me, the fact that the stat alone to say that they haven't won a home game in 15, I think, they were saying at the beginning of the show, go to show really, but I'm not going to read too much into that because I might say something I regret. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on the day. But I'm pretty confident ahead of the game against the Robins at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Legend. Robert, any final words for Cherries fans or yourself, or whatever you want to say?
Of course, about David Brooks, I really hope he can recover really, really fast, and it will be like a fast recovery. Hopefully everything goes well, and I want to see him back in the red shirt.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. Robert, you are a legend, Latvia's legend. Thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Legend. How the cherries?
Cheers, mate. The cherries. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you to everyone that's been watching. And Morgan, thank you for co-presenting this preview show. Have you enjoyed it?
Absolutely, no worries at all. Thanks for having me, Sam, and safe journey to all the Cherries fans going tomorrow. And Brooksy, you are a hero. We'll have you back at AFC Bournemouth, and we wish you all the best.
Quick message to anyone that's purchased one of these bad boys, right? So basically what happened, right, was we use the same company to make these mugs, and we always submit the same artwork. So you got your logo, and we've had it absolutely fine. I did it on the last batch, and 3 times they came back to me saying your artwork is like not in the right format. And I said to him, I've used it on previous mug orders. Like, what's going on? And anyway, finally they sorted it out. So we've got 18 of these bad boys. You can't buy one. They have to be shipped out. So I've emailed all of you individually today. And, if you haven't seen it, check your inbox for that. And I've just said, look, we'll be posting it soon. Or if you want to pick it up from a game, Heather's picking hers up this weekend. A couple of others are picking it up at the Huddersfield game week after. So, yeah, we'll be getting it to you. And then we'll let you know when we are having some more mugs in. You can support the pod with a mug purchase, but at the moment, they're all sold out. So you can't. You can do a super chat, but you can be a hero or even a legend. A legend is a monthly donation. And what that means is you will be on our Legends wall at the end of the show. Thank you to Alex, who's recently joined the monthly membership. What it does not only puts your name on the wall, but also you can join our private chat group as well, where you can get an exclusive first look at some of our YouTube content. For instance, right, after the cameras stopped rolling between Jeff and Mark Billing, I then came on camera again, and then we chatted some more for about 6 or 7 minutes, and it was brilliant. But we haven't put it on YouTube. But if you're on the Telegram group, our private chat group, if you're a monthly subscriber, am I selling it enough? Then you can see what that's all about. And to do that and appear on the Legends wall, the link's at the bottom of the screen. It's afcbpodcast.com/coffee and become a monthly member. Look, your Back of the Net's always going to be free, okay? But just for those little extra perks, then you can join us and help us to put out the best content we can by providing a monthly donation, which pays for our fees. It contributes to a little bit of our time as well, but ultimately we're trying to put together the best kind of graphical packages and features that we possibly can. So thank you to everyone that's helped out. We truly appreciate it. With that in mind, also, we've got to say thanks so much for the feedback that we've had as well. Some of it's been really interesting, and I agree with a lot of it. So even if you think you're being really fussy, you know what? Just bloody tell it to us straight. We're loving it. It can be anonymous. Go to afcbpodcast.com/feedback and tell us your thoughts about the content that we put out. Some of the comments have been put out about the vlog, which are, you know what, I fully agree with myself. Stop drinking, Sam. But no, afcbpodcast.com/feedback, and we would love to hear your opinions on everything we do. Morgan, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you very much. Up the cherries.
And I've got the benefit of your company on Tuesday for that long and arduous journey up to the Bet365 Stadium. Is it one you've done before?
I have done it before. We won 2-1 the last time, so I got a 100% record. But I think it's going to be a cold, windy day in Stoke. So hopefully we'll wrap up warm, but we'll come back with 3 points.
Thanks for watching the preview. My name's Sam Davis.
I'm Morgan Scott.
Oh, the cherries.